everybody, and welcome to this Hearthstone Journey to Ungoro card review, I guess. So, we have a new expansion coming, I think mid-April. I don't think they've announced at the time of me recording this exactly when it's coming out, as in what day, but I'm pretty sure they're saying mid-April, so not too long to go really, as it's just the end of March now. And I'm going to go through the cards which have been released so far and just talk about them, give my opinion on it. Some of them are more interesting than others, and also talk about some of the new mechanics that are coming in to Hearthstone as a whole, really. So I'm going to kind of go through, I guess, in a chronological order of the time when they were announced, if that makes sense-ish. So we're going to start off with Volcano, which is a Shaman card. It's a 5-cost spell that deals 15 damage randomly split among all minions and overloads you for 2. This was shown like in one of the original kind of trailer for the Journey to Ungoro expansion, and it looks okay. I'm not too sure about it because I mean it's only on minions, so it's not going to do damage to either hero like other spells which are similar to this do. So it could be potentially a good board clear if your opponent has a decent sized board and you haven't got a lot. Then it could be worth the risk. Overload you for 2, which isn't great, but again, I kind of see it as like a kind of a risky get out of jail card for you to go for. So interesting card. It has a really cool effect on the actual board. It does look cool, so it might just be worth playing it for that. Next up, we have Awaken the Makers. Now, this is one of the new types of card which they have in the Journey to Ungoro expansion, which is a quest card. So it's a 1 mana card. It always appears in your opening hand. It does take up a space though in your deck, so that's something to remember. But usually what happens is it's a quest, you have to do something, each class will have one, and then you get a reward which is usually very, very powerful. So in the case of this one, it's called Awaken the Makers. Its quest is summon 7 Death Rattle minions, which for a priest, because this is the priest card, is okay. There are Death Rattle minions you can have. Kind of a shame that Sylvanas is going away, but because that's one of the best ones. But you have others which are pretty good. You do have some in priest, so it's not too much of a stretch to kind of build a deck around this. And then the reward is you get a Mara Warden of Hope. Who or what is a Mara Warden of Hope? She is a 5-cost 8/8. She has Taunt, and she sets your hero's health to 40. So imagine Reno Jackson on steroids. Yeah, so pretty strong. I guess allows you to be pretty aggressive, and then play this. And I mean, for a 5-cost 8/8 is ridiculous with that power. But I guess we'll see how well it does. I think all the quests are pretty powerful as we kind of go through, but I like that one on priest. Definitely the kind of thing which annoys me. I don't know how the quest cards are going to work yet, as in cost to make them, or if they're going to be given to you for free. They haven't, I don't think, announced that they have a legendary style to them. If they cost a legendary amount of dust, I'm going to be very angry about that, because personally I'd like to have all the quests and then build decks around them, and that sounds fun. But if they're going to kind of put it behind essentially a paywall, then I'm not going to be very happy about that. So next up we have the Verdant Longneck, which is a beast. It's a druid card. It's a 5-cost 5/4, and its battle cry is Adapt. Now, what is Adapt? Well, Adapt could be one of 10 different things. So you have like it basically gives a buff to your minion. So the buff could be gives it extra attack, gives it divine shield, it's poisonous, it has stealth, wind fury, extra health, can't be targeted by spells or heroes basically. So it's a random, well, not random buff, because I think you choose from one of three what you want to give it. So it's okay, I think. Yeah, in the big scheme of things, I think it's okay. And I mean, I guess Raw Beast for Druid, a 5 cost 5/4 is pretty good. If you turn around and go, okay, the 5 cost 5/7 if you get like extra health, or a 5 cost 5/4 with Divine Shield, or a 5 cost 5/4 which can't be targeted by spells or hear about. You know, you can see actually that's pretty powerful. And next up we have a mage legendary called Pyros, which is really interesting. I actually really like this card, not just for the card art, which I think looks cool, but the fact that it's this kind of multi-stage card. So you have it starts off as a 2 cost 2/2, nothing special. Has a death rattle though. Return this to your hand as a 6/6. That costs 6. So yeah, it comes back. Then you get the 6/6, which is like an upgraded Pyros. And then when that dies, so it's death rattle there, is you get a 10/10. That costs 10 Pyros. So you're kind of getting 3 cards in one, so long as your opponent doesn't silence it, I guess, or steal it, which are possibilities there. I imagine maybe if you're playing against a priest, like a Potion of Madness would be a nightmare with this, because you just steal it, run it into something, and then you get yourself a 6/6 in your hand that costs 6. So I like it on one hand, it seems cool, but I think it is really open to being stolen or something along those lines, especially against priest. But that's probably a bit specific, really. I'm just thinking of it from my point of view because I like playing priest, really. So next up we have the Lakari Sacrifice. Lakari Sacrifice is the Warlock quest. I love Warlock, and I think this is awesome. So, in fact, all the quests are pretty awesome, to be fair. So, again, as I said, it's a quest, so it's a 1 cost, starts in your hand immediately. And the quest is discard 6 cards. So, it builds on the discard mechanic of Warlock, which I actually quite enjoy. It kind of, it's a different way of playing. And it's like a kind of super aggro way of playing as well, because you're not playing a long game, you're trying to just blitz your opponent down. So discard 6 cards, which is not beyond the realms of possibility, especially if you've got a couple of Doom cards in your deck. And the reward is the Nether Portal. The Nether Portal, at the end of your turn, summon 2 3/2 imps. Now I believe the Nether Portal is just paid immediately because it's got no mana cost or anything associated with it, and also it's a permanent card, so it sits in the middle of the board and it's permanent. It can't be killed, it can't be destroyed, it can't be silenced, as far as I'm aware. I don't know if people have kind of looked into it more, if there is some way to remove it. Whether or not something like the Twisting Nether or something like that gets rid of it, I don't know. I guess we maybe won't know until we play it. But it can't be killed by minions or spells, basically. And what it does is at the end of your turn, it summons 2 3/2 imps, so either side. Oh, sorry, the Nether Portal is actually a 5 cost card that you play. Okay, so that's a little bit better. Although 5 cost is really cheap for what you get. So yeah, permanent portal summons 3/2 imps. So 3/2 imps is pretty strong, and it's just doing them for free. You get 2 of them each turn for free, just popping out, which is kind of be a nightmare for your opponent, especially if they can't stop that from happening. So yeah, really cool card. I like that a lot. I really am looking forward to playing that and the priest one, definitely, and the hunter one, which we'll come across later. So next up we have a 2 cost spell called Explore Unguru. Replace your deck with copies of discover a card. So interesting, kind of like the Renounced Darkness card for Warlock. This is a warrior card. I guess maybe it's aimed at like Control Warrior at the end, you know, because Elise is going. So we won't have her anymore, although we will have a different Elise, as we'll see later. But as maybe Elise is going, so there's no way to turn your kind of like maybe cheap, crappy spells, which are of no use, into something like legendaries like you used to be able to. Maybe this is kind of what they're hoping is doing. So you save this for the end, and you play it, and then you get to discover your cards as you go through, which I think is pretty cool. I quite like the idea of that. I'm not sure it would necessarily be something I would go for straight away, but I could see people doing cool things with that. And as I say, I think it's there to kind of replace Elise in a way in the Control Warrior deck, because that's kind of get nerfs hard if you don't have Elise in there. Next up we have the Paladin card, 8 cost spell, Dino size, set a minion's attack and health to 10. So I would see this card personally as a finisher card. So maybe you have a minion down and it's a small minion, and then you can just chuck this on it, and suddenly it's a 10-10. You know, especially if it was something that had Wind Fury, that's just 20 damage straight out there. So I could actually see this card being pretty darn cool. Paladin is losing one of its main finishers, and everything is awesome, really. In a way, I guess it's not really necessarily it's one of its main finishers, but you know, in kind of like Murloc decks and things like that. Is it everything? Well, you get what I'm saying anyway. The Murloc deck's getting a little bit nerfed, so to have something like this, which allows you to kind of buff something for the finisher, is pretty darn cool. And the fact that it isn't like it's kind of, it's not something, I don't know if there's anything which has charge and it costs 2. I could be mistaken, but I don't think it's something where it's like it's a 1-turn kill. I think you'd have to have something on the board before, but that's not that difficult with Paladin, especially if you're playing like you know, the smaller Paladin decks and things like that. So I quite like that card as a kind of finisher just out of nowhere. It's kind of actually like a Pyroblast, but it only costs 2 less, but it means you have to have a minion on board, doesn't it? And I guess Taunt is an issue, but anyway, you get what I'm saying. It's kind of like a Pyroblast. Next up we have the Tark Reaper. This is a neutral card. It's Taunt, it's a 3 cost, 1 of 5, and has +2 attack during your opponent's turn. This seems really powerful to me, I think anyway. It's also an elemental, so this is a new type of card, so similar to like Beast, Demon, that type of thing. Elementals are now in the game, and there are things which react to elementals, as we'll see later on. This seems really good, I think, in control decks, definitely. I quite like the look of it. Actually, it's a common card as well. I could definitely see that being played on like turn 3. A 3 cost, 3/5. That seems really powerful to me. Yeah, and obviously it's only a 3/5 on your opponent's turn, but I think it's there typically to stop aggro decks, your pirate decks, your, to some extent, the kind of rogue aggro decks and things like that. You know, the Paladin aggros, the Murloc aggros, things like that. I think primarily it's there to stop that, and it seems like a cool card. I like it. Next up we have the Galaka Crawler, a 2 cost, 2/3 beast. It's a neutral card, and it's Battlecry, destroy pirate, gain +1/+1. Okay, so it's the Hungry Crab for pirates. I don't know how much play you're going to get out of that. A 2/3 for 2 and a beast is not terrible. If you're playing a hunter deck, for example, there's stuff you can do with that. But I mean, how many people play Hungry Crab? Really, not that many. I guess maybe like Arena, it might play quite well. But I guess we'll have to see. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of like a bit of a weak response to pirate decks, really. Which I don't really see pirate decks as that much of a problem anyway. To be honest with you, I have a pretty good win rate against them. It's more about the luck of the draw, I guess, maybe, but I don't think I'd be putting this in my deck just to combat pirate decks. Next up we have the Hunter Legendary Swamp King Dread. The 7 cost, 9/9, so he's a bit of a beast. He is literally a beast, and he's got a really cool mechanic. So after your opponent plays a minion, he attacks it. So basically, you put this down, it goes around to your opponent's turn. They play, you know, maybe they play the Galaka Crawler, the 2/3 for 2. This thing will just eat it. Obviously, it will do damage to it. You know, it'll have the 2 damage on the Sword King Dread, but he will just take out. So it kind of stops that. If you imagine, as I was talking about dino size before, having to have something on the board to activate it. If you had this down, like maybe you couldn't get anything on the board because the Sword King Dread's just eating it all. I like it a lot. I don't know how much is going to get played. We'll see. It seems to me like it would be very like susceptible to high attack, low health minions. You know, your Ragers and things like that. Your Magma Rager, chunk down a Magma Rager, and you're getting pretty good value. Or anything with Divine Shield maybe would take a chunk of it. But again, it's, you know, until you actually kind of see it in play, I guess you don't really know. But I like that. It's a cool new mechanic. Something different for Hunter as well. Plays very well with Control Hunter, definitely, which is cool. I quite like Control Hunter, so hopefully I'll be lucky enough to get that in the pack opening. Next up we have Sherazin Corpse Flower. It's a 4-cost 5/3 rogue card with a Death Rattle. The Death Rattle is go dormant. Play 4 cards in a turn to revive this minion. So that's interesting. It doesn't die. I guess you can silence it and then it will. But it's a 5/3 which you can essentially revive if you play 4 cards in a turn, which, let's face it, with Rogue is not very difficult. If you're playing that sort of combo Rogue deck, then it's probably fine. So yeah, I quite like that. I don't know if we're going to see it. Seems quite situational. 5/3 for 4 is not terrible, to be completely honest, but it's not great either. So I guess we'll see. Next up we have the Mage card, the 2-cost 2/3 Arcanologist. Battlecry, draw a secret from your deck. So I have seen that they've tried to maybe bring secrets back a little bit more in this expansion, and Arcanologist is kind of helping towards that. Kind of reminds me of Mad Scientist a little bit, except that Mad Scientist actually put your secret in play, whereas this doesn't, it just draws it from your deck. But obviously really good if you're playing like Freeze Mage and you need you know, the Ice Block or Ice Barrier, something like that, you know. Super cool there. You can just draw it out without having to worry about things. So I would imagine that we'd see that get played in something like a Freeze Mage deck perhaps. Maybe, I don't know. Also, I don't play enough Freeze Mage to know what I would cut to put it in, but it's interesting anyway. Next up, I said before, we had Elise was leaving us. Well, she's come back in a different form. Elise the Trailblazer, 5-cost 5/5, so pretty standard stat line really. And what she does is actually super cool. So she shuffles a sealed Angora pack into your deck. So what does that mean? It means that you basically get 5 cards added to your deck, and at least one of them is going to be like rare or higher. And also, apparently, according to Blizzard, it has a higher chance than you would normally get when you open a pack of getting a legendary. So yeah, I think it's actually pretty cool. I would definitely play that. It's kind of like a Prince Malcazar, but a bit more useful, shall we say? Because you're going to get, essentially, you're probably going to get like more common cards which are easier to get out. The problem with Prince Malcazar is that sometimes you end up drawing like 4 super high cost legendaries and you can't do anything with them, you know, and because you're drawing those cards, you know, you're not getting any low cost ones. But essentially with Elise, and I would imagine, because it's saying shuffled an Angora pack, that can be any class, different class cards as well in there. So super interesting card, I think. I'll definitely be looking to get this. I like the idea of that, and obviously she's a neutral, so you can play this in any deck. Plays into my kind of control style that I like a lot more. Next up we have Warlock. So we have another demon card. I love that. I love demons in Hearthstone. 4-cost 3/8. Taunt, Battlecry, discard 2 random cards. So we talked about before, the quest for Warlock is about discarding cards, and the Lakari Fellhound does that. A 3/8 with Taunt played Hearthstone for ages. Ish, but with a slightly better attack and costs more mana. And instead of drawing a card from your opponent's deck when it dies, you battle cries, you get rid of 2 random cards. Now there are some other cards which play discard mechanics, so we'll see that later. But I mean, it'll certainly be interesting to play around with it. It's a common card, so I'll probably craft it and we'll have a look at how it does. But I'm not 100% sure that is going to take pride of place in a discard lock deck. But we'll see. We'll see. Okay, next up we have the Priest card, 4 cost, 2/6. Tortolan Shellraiser, which is a taunt, and its death rattle, give a random friendly minion +1/+1. There's not a great deal to say about this card, really. It's a taunt card for Priest. It's got an okay stat line. I would say it's particularly brilliant. Its death rattle's okay as well. It's one of those death rattles where it's like, I don't think someone would go out of their way to kill everything else on the board just so they didn't get the +1/+1. But it's annoying enough that it could make a difference in a game, if you know what I mean. So we'll have to see with that one. It's just, I mean, it is a common card, so it's not looking to blow the world apart, I guess. But it's not. I'm not excited by it, if that makes sense. Next up we have the Molten Blade. This is a weapon. You can see it's a 1 cost 1/1, but the reality of it is it's a shifter Celis, is it? I think, but in weapon form. So each turn this is in your hand, it transforms into a new weapon, and apparently it can be any weapon across any class. So you can get yourself a Gorehowl, or you get yourself an Arcanite Reaper, or you get yourself a Piranha Launcher. Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. I like that card. As far as I'm aware, is it a neutral card? I don't actually know offhand. I'm gonna guess it is. I don't actually know offhand. I'd imagine it probably is, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. Again, I don't know how much you're going to see it get played. I don't know how it can potentially synergise, but having a couple of those in your hand would probably be quite good fun. Next up we have a 3 cost secret, a mage secret called Mana Bind. When your opponent casts a spell, add a copy to your hand. That costs 0. I like this secret a lot. It's one of those ones where it's like you could get something really cool and it would cost you 0, but you could get something total trash. I think the 3 mana is a bit high, but it could potentially win you the game. It could potentially do nothing for you, so it's one of those cards, you know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. You could get a dino size that costs 0. You could, I don't know, but yeah, it's pretty cool anyway. I like it. Next up we have another mage card called the Flame Geyser. Deal 2 damage, add a 1/2 elemental to your hand. I don't think this is a great card in all honesty. I think I was watching Griparian talk about it and he said that if you compare it to the Jade Shuriken, it's trash because that puts a Jade in play, which could potentially be a high cost card. This just adds a 1/2 elemental to your hand, which is nothing really. I think that 1/2 elemental costs 1 mana, so it's, I don't know really. I mean, I guess it's a turn 2 play, you can drop something off the board and maybe then you've got something to play next turn, but it's really situational, and I think as the game goes on this just becomes irrelevant, so I don't know about that card. I think that's probably the weakest of the cards I've seen so far, potentially. But yeah, they can't all be bangers. Next up we have the Marsh Queen. I love this card. This is super powerful. This is the Kazakus of this expansion, in a way. So it's a quest card for Hunter. The Marsh Queen plays 7 1 cost minions, so obviously you've got to go super aggro in your deck, but that's cool, I guess. The reward is Queen Carnassa. Queen Carnassa is a 5-cost 8/8 beast, so yeah, powerful. But her battle cry, oh my god, her battle cry. Shuffle 15 raptors into your deck. A raptor, the Carnassus Brood it's called. It's a 1-cost 3/2 beast whose battle cry is draw a card. That's broken. Sure, you have to go through the process of playing 7 minions, playing Carnassa, but oh my god, like 15 of them. You're just cycling through your deck basically. If you think about it, if you're on like turn 6, you can just be drawing these, drawing, just spamming your board, and because you've got 15 of them, like what's your opponent gonna do? You know, you can wipe out the first lot, but they're gonna keep coming. So it's basically play 7 1-cost minions, win the game. It's kind of essentially what the card is, but no, I mean it is obviously you can do things to stop it and stuff like that, and yeah, it's not necessarily like the greatest thing, but I think that is really super powerful. That could well be like OP, and if I was gonna do a quest card, if I do have to craft them and they do cost a lot, then that would be the first one I'd do, because that is really powerful in my opinion, and I think it could be a lot of fun as well. So, speaking of 1-cost minions, we have up next the Firefly. It's a 1-cost 1/2 elemental, and its battle cry at a 1/2 elemental to your hand. So, just a kind of low cost. I mean, again, if you put 2 of those in your under deck, then you essentially can just play 4 already. 7-cost minions. 7 1-cost minions with only 2 cards in your deck. So you don't have to turn around and be like, oh, my deck's just gonna have a stacked ton of 1-cost minions, you know. So that's really cool. So yeah, I think this will get played. I definitely play it in combination with the Marsh Queen. And so here we go. I don't think it's like gonna be a game-breaking card on its own. But you know, combine that with maybe like, I don't know, the Tabby Cat's pretty good, or not the Tabby Cat, but whatever the cat card is, Alley Cat, is it? The Alley Cat. You know, and suddenly you're there without having to do much. So yeah, like it. Mistress of Mixers. Boom. You've got your Marsh Queen, you've got your Queen Carnassa, you've won the game. So yeah, I might be playing quite a lot of Hunter in the next expansion, because that is a super cool card. By super cool, I mean super overpowered. Okay, so next up we have another quest card, which is the Rogue one, and it's called the Caverns Below. Quest: play 4 minions with the same name. So, in other words, you might turn and go, we can only get 2 copies of a card in your deck, but obviously there are rogue cards which can do things like Shadow Step. You can play Gang Up to get copies of your card. There are other things. It doesn't say they have to be exactly the same, so I can't remember the name of the card which does a 1/1 copy of it. It's not difficult to do, but I don't think the reward is necessarily brilliant. Its reward gives you the Crystal Core. The Crystal Core is like a spell, 5-cost spell. For the rest of the game, your minions are 5/5. So obviously, if you're playing cards which are less, you know, if you're playing aggro cards, that's really good. Pirate deck, I'm thinking, would be quite scary at this point. But you kind of have to go through some loops and hoops to get there, you know. So I don't think it's one of the greatest like quests out there, but I could be totally wrong, because I still don't quite. I'm not that experienced with rogue, so you know, if you are a primarily rogue player, let me know what you think about that card, because I think it's interesting, but I'm not sure. Like, for me, it looks nowhere near as good as the Hunter one, or even the Priest one, to be fair, but I guess we'll see. Next up, a card to help that along is the Mimic Pod, a 3-cost spell. Draw a card, then add a copy of it to your hand. Obviously, if you're not getting a minion with that, then it's really annoying. But I guess it's. I mean, I kind of feel like those spells which do things like that, like Thistle Tea, Gang Up, stuff like that, you lose a lot of momentum in your game. And when I play decks like that, I really want to do cool things with it, but I just find I lose so much momentum and tempo, and I have nothing on my board to show for it at the end that, you know, my opponent just swamps me and I'm dead, because Rogue doesn't really have amazing mass removal. So, yeah, I don't know about that. Me personally, I feel like that's a weak card, and the quest is fairly weak for Rogue, but again, we'll see. Next up we have the Paladin card, a Murloc. Yay, I love Murlocs. Hydrologist, Battlecry, discover a secret, 2 cost 2/2. I'm guessing the secret's got to be a Paladin secret, and there's not that many hugely powerful Paladin secrets. I think this is a good card. It's not like overpowered, it's not underpowered, it's just decent. Would it get into a Murloc deck? It might do, yeah, it might do. My Murlocalypse deck. You know, because it's not like you have to have the secret in your deck, you're discovering it, so you get it extra if you can get something which buffs your minions, which Paladin does have cards which do that, or protects your minions as well, then that could be pretty cool. So yeah, we'll have a look at that, and it's a common card as well, so I think that would be really good in Arena as well, definitely. Next up we have a really interesting card actually, called Living Mana. So this is it's a druid card. It's a 5 cost, and what it does, it transforms your mana crystals into 2/2 minions. So essentially, say you had 5 mana when you play this. So you play this, and then your crystals, you get 5 2/2 minions on your deck. But the next turn you'll only have 1 mana. But when each of your things die, you get back those mana crystals. So essentially what it's kind of cool for is, if you play this and then your opponent just plays like a Flame Strike or, you know, Excavate Eve, or wipes out your board, you don't really lose anything because you've just got all those mana crystals back. So yeah, it's kind of cool. And the Mana Treant, it's Death Rattle, gain an empty mana crystal. So I think potentially there's something you could play around with there. With it, it's a unique card. We've not seen that mechanic before in Hearthstone, where it actually destroys your mana crystals and gives you things, and then you get them back again. We've seen cards which do destroy mana crystals in Warlock, but I think that's a really interesting card. I don't know how much use it's going to get. I certainly would love to play around with it if I was lucky enough to get it, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up we have a card which is actually, I think, one of the best cards I've seen so far. I like it, I'm going to play it. It's the Glutton's Ooze. It's a neutral card, which is great, and it's a 3 cost 3/3. Battlecry, destroy your opponent's weapon and gain armor equal to its attack. So we've had to put up with the Acidic Swampoos all the time, which is your 2 cost 3/2. You know, destroys your opponent's weapon. This one not only destroys your opponent's weapon, you get the armor from it. So if your opponent is a pirate warrior with an Arcanite Reaper in there, you get 5 of your you get 5 armor back for killing your, and you kill your opponent's weapon, and you have a 3/3 down instead of a 3/2. So the question is, why would you play the Acidic Swampoos now? Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess there might not really be a reason other than the fact that you might be like, I need it a turn earlier, or maybe you're gonna play 2 of these and 2 Acidic Swampoos. You're just like, right, I'm fed up with playing pirates. I'm gonna take all your weapons away. I'm gonna take your toys away. So yeah, I like that card a lot. I think that's a super good card. If I don't get it in a pack opening, it will be one of the first ones I craft for sure. Next up we have an interesting Shaman card. Is it Shaman? No, it's Warlock, idiot. It's a Warlock card. I'm just kind of looking at it from a distance, so but it's called Corrupting Mist, and it's a 2 cost spell. Corrupt every minion on the board, destroy them at the start of your next turn. So It's kind of like a Doomsayer, which your opponent can't kill, but could potentially silence its own minions to protect them, or it can still play minions. See, that's the other thing. That's the good thing about Doomsayer, is the fact that your opponent can't play a minion because it's going to get destroyed. Whereas if you play this, yes, you're going to destroy what's on your opponent's board now, but if you play something really big, you can't destroy that. Like, it won't be corrupted because you've already played the spell. So that seems pretty good to me. 2 cost as well is really, really cheap. So yeah, I like that a lot. Next up we have the neutral volcano soul. Pretty cool looking. Molten lava-esque T-Rex type thing. 7 cost 5/6. His battle cry is adapt, then adapt. So he adapts twice. Not a great stat line for 7, but if you can imagine, if you can give him an extra 3 health, an extra 3 attack, or you give him a divine shield and an extra 3 attack or something, you can see what I mean. He could be pretty good. I'm not sure he would see much play outside of arena. Like, I think it's a really good arena card, but I don't know how much he would. I'd like to play that in wild with a Bran. That would be pretty cool. Get like 4 adapts on him. But again, it's 1 minion, and you can just get like blitzed down, I guess, with a single removal card. So we'll see with that one, I guess. Next up, we have kind of cool card, which I really like. This card, the Gentle Megasaur. It's a 4 cost 5/4 beast and neutral, so anyone can play it. And his battle cry adapt to your Murlocs. So interesting, it's not a Murloc, but it will adapt all your Murlocs, so it will give them all buffs basically, which could be so cool. Especially if you imagine something like the Shaman card, where summon the ninjas or whatever, or no, called in the finishers, something like that, and you summon in like the 4 Murlocs. If you played this afterwards, you could potentially buff them all up, something like that. It's kind of like an anything, but it's not really, because there's 10 possible things you can get on each one. So I'm pretty sure you don't choose the adapt as well. I think it probably just happens. So it's kind of that random thing. But a cool card, I like that. I would definitely be playing with that card, I think, in Murloc deck. And a 4 cost 5/4 is not terrible either, to be fair. 5 cost, next one, 3/4. Vile Spine Slayer. Rogue card. Combo, destroy minion. It's pretty powerful. For 5 cost, obviously it's a combo, so you gotta play something, but coin this on turn 4. Wow. It just wiped out something big. Your opponent's maybe, maybe you're playing against a druid who's just innovated out something, or whatever, and you've just boom, gone. Plus you've got a 3/4 in play. It's actually, I think, a pretty cool card. Obviously it gets harder to activate the longer the game goes on, I guess, in a way, unless you're playing like low cost minions, which you might be. I don't know, but I guess we'll see, won't we, really? Sometimes you see a card and think, oh, that's great, but then when you get to play it actually in practice, the actual mechanics of it are really difficult to do. So again, we'll see. Next up we have the Shaman Quest. The Shaman Quest is Unite the Murlocs. The quest is summon 10 Murlocs, and the reward is Megafin. So they're trying to really build up this Shaman Murloc like thing, which is understandable, because one of the Shaman heroes is a Murloc, so that makes sense. I think I'm right in saying that, aren't I? Yeah. No, am I? Yeah, I think so. Again, it's been so long since I played Hearthstone, honestly. We've got Megafin. He's a 5 cost 8/8 Murloc. It's pretty strong. His battle cry, fill your hand with random Murlocs. So if you just dump your hand playing low cost Murlocs, shut this guy down, your hand's empty, or maybe only has 1 card, you get like 9 or 10 cards for free. It's really, really powerful. and maybe if you're on like a high turn level as well, you can still play some of those cards. So yeah, I think that's an interesting quest. I don't think it's as OP as the Hunter one, but I think it's really good. Again, these quests are going to be interesting, aren't they? Like, how many people are going to play them over regular decks? We'll see, but I think they're really interesting, and I'm definitely going to try and do a lot of them. Next up, we have the Priest card, the Curious Glimmer Root. Look at 3 cards. Guess which one started in your opponent's deck to get a copy of it. That's a really interesting, cool mechanic. It's a 3 cost 3/3, so, and it's a Priest card. So I just see the after saying this shows 3 class cards unless the deck started with no class cards. So it's interesting, and I think it doesn't have to necessarily be cards which your opponent. So, for example, if you're playing against a warrior and there was like a pirate card and 2 other cards, you're probably going to go with the pirate card, right? You know, you're going to go with that. So I don't know, it's really interesting. Whether you want a copy of something which is so low cost, I mean, that's the other thing. I guess you have to think about, but it's not bad, I think, and it's an interesting mechanic anyway. Next up, we have the Paladin card, Lost in the Jungle. Summon 2/1/1 Sylvan recruits for 1 mana. Yep, fine. Not much else to say about that. Next up, we have the Druid No Hunter card. Sorry. 5 cost 3/5 Dolthia Warden. Battlecry, draw 2 1-cost minions from your deck. Great with the Hunter quest line, as we said, where you have to play 1-cost minions. Pretty decent stat line, 3/5. It's not terrible for 5 cost. So yeah, quite like it. Next up, we have the Dolthia Stone Shaper, 4 cost 3/5. So it costs 1 less than the previous card. There's Battlecry if you played an elemental last turn and gained Taunt and Divine Shield. Wow, okay, that's interesting. Taunt and Divine Shield on a 4 cost 3/5. That's pretty powerful. Again, you have to have played an elemental card the previous turn, but a lot of them have quite low mana costs, so yeah, it seems pretty good. As I said before, there's lots of things which play around with elementals, including the next card, which is a legendary. It's a neutral legendary. A 9-cost Osrook, 5/5 elemental. Not that great, you might say, but he gets Taunt, and his Battlecry is gain +5 health for each elemental you played last turn. So if you think maybe on average 2, probably I'd say is, unless you really got lucky, I'd say 2 would be like the maximum. So he's going to have 15 health. So it's 5/15 with Taunt. That seems pretty strong to me, anyway. And I'm saying on average 2 because a lot of them are quite low cost, these elementals. So it's not. If you had this in your hand, you'd probably be playing a lot of elemental cards, like elemental synergy stuff. So I think to play 2 of them would not be. If you get 3, then Jesus, you've got 5/20. Chuck in a priest deck with Inner Fire or Confuse, and you're doing all right. So I'm not sure if I like that card enough that I would be like, yeah, that's going to be an automatic craft or whatever, but it's interesting, shall we say. I would not object to getting it, you know. Next up, we have the Priest card, the 3-cost Mirage Caller. It's a 2/3 Battlecry. Choose a friendly minion, summon a 1/1 copy of it. I quite like these ones where you summon 1/1 copies of it. They can be really good, you know. Just shut down a Ragnaros, get another one. You're doing 16 damage for nothing, you know. There's loads of different scenarios you can do with it. So I quite like that. I think that would be fun to play around with for sure. And it's a Priest card. I like Priest cards, and it's a fairly low cost, average stat line Priest card, so it's not terrible. Next up, we have the Stone Sentinel, 7-cost 4/4 elemental. Battlecry if you played an elemental last turn. Summon 2 2/3 elementals with Taunt. So, if you have played Elemental last turn, it's pretty darn good. If you haven't, it's pretty darn rubbish. So, yeah, not much to say about that one really. It's, you know, just a really solid card if you're playing an Elemental deck. If you're not, the other things I think is like, you know, those cards, or you get a lot of cards where maybe you summon a minion or something like that. This would be one of the worst ones to summon, wouldn't it? 7 cost 4/4, you'd be gutted if you got that. So yeah, I mean, until we probably see all the cards, we won't really know how strong elementals are. If they're going to be a Jade Breaker or a you know, Pirate Breaker or something like that, we don't know. But I think it looks like there could be some fun to be had with them for sure. Next up, we have the Priest card on 1 cost Crystalline Oracle. It's a 1/1 elemental, and Death Rattle will copy a card from your opponent's deck and add it to your hand. Death Rattle there, which is important because, as we saw before, the Priest quest is Death Rattle. It's basically a swashbuckler, but it doesn't work until it dies. So that's pretty cool, I think. Actually, I like that. And Priest kind of needs more lower cost cards like this, which do things. So I like that. I'd probably play that in a Priest deck for sure. With the quest, definitely. Next up, we have a neutral Murloc, the Primal Fin Lookout. 3 cost 3/2. Battlecry for control a Murloc, discover a Murloc. Yep, sold. Yep. It's quite a simple card. I like it a lot. Discover a Murloc gives you 3 opportunities to get a War Leader, basically. But yeah, I like that. That's good. Shame we're not still keeping Bran, isn't it? Next up, we have a Warlock card, Clutch Mother Zavas. 2 cost 2/2. Whenever you discard this, give it +2/+2. Return it to your hand. So this, along with the card, I can't remember what it's called now. You know, the 3/3, which when you discard it, it actually plays it. I can't remember the Clockwork something or other. Is it Clockwork or something? I don't know. I can't remember. I keep wanting to say Clockwork Knight, but that's not it at all. I mean, if you're talking about discarding it twice, then you're getting a 6/6 for 2 cost, which is decent, but I don't know if it's legendary decent, you know. Being a Warlock and a Beast as well, if it's a Demon, you might be like, oh, okay, but a Beast, it's interesting. Why is it a Beast? That's a weird one to have in a Warlock deck. That's a weird one. Yeah, I don't know about that personally. I think that might be on the Wilfred Fizzlebang pile of unusable Warlock cards. I could be completely wrong though. Again, if I got it, I'd probably definitely try it out in discard decks. But and with the quest line, I mean, I guess the one great thing about it is with the quest of the Warlock is discard 6 cards. Every time you discard this thing, it counts as a card. So you could just be discarding this 3 times, and you've discarded you've done half your quest line. So it could be pretty decent. Next up, penultimate card, the Paladin. Paladin Legendary, Sunkeeper Tarim, 6 cost 3/7. It's got Taunt, it's Battlecry, set all other minions attack and health to 3. I think this is a really powerful card, especially against something like a Jade deck or any deck which is very strong later on. You know, you pop this down, you've kind of neutralised it. You would have to effectively use 3 cards to kill the Sunkeeper, and it would kill all those cards because they'd be 3/3s. So I think that could be really powerful. The 6 cost is really good as well. That's good. So yeah, I like that card a lot. That's another really decent Paladin Legendary up there with like Tyrion and Ragnaros the Light Lord. Like you know, I think Paladin's got some really good legendary cards. Not necessarily cards which are overpowered, but just like really solid when you put them down and do good things. And I think this is another one. And finally, last but not least, we have the Shaman legendary, the 8-cost 7/7 elemental Kalimos Primal Lord, whose battle cry is: if you played an elemental last turn, cast an elemental invocation. An elemental invocation is a free spell that will cast randomly out of, how many is there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. You have the Invocation of Air, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions. The Invocation of Fire, deal 6 damage to the enemy hero. Invocation of Water, restore 12 health to your hero. And the Invocation of Earth, fill your board with 1/1 elementals. I mean, everyone's probably going to want to get the air one, right? I don't know if you get to choose. You do get to choose. Sorry, I just sitting here. Your Hearthstone said you get to choose. So wow. So Invocation of Air every time, right? That's pretty good. I like that card. Yeah, that's really good. Goddamn Shaman, and they're great cards, eh? But yeah, that is basically the end of part 1, I guess, of the Ongoro. I don't know how many parts it's going to be, 2, 3, I'm not sure. But as that was nearly an hour, yeah, it's going to be. I mean, so far, my initial impressions of Ongoro are good. I like the questline things. I think some of them are a lot better than others, but they all look like they're good fun, and they all look like you can base a really fun deck around them, which is great. I'm all about having fun in Hearthstone. I don't play it to be like super competitive. You know that if you watch any of my videos, I'm not super competitive, but I like to do cool things. I like cool mechanics and stuff like that to come about, and I think the quests do help with that. I just hope we don't get a situation where everybody is playing 1 or 2 decks and it just gets really boring. I hope there's a few different ones, but I have a feeling like that might just be the way Hearthstone is from now on, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, but as I said, I'm pretty positive about this expansion so far. I think it looks pretty cool. We'll have to wait and see on a few different things. There are obviously a lot more cards to come and be announced until before the release, so yeah, I'll do another video probably a bit closer to release time when we actually get the date. And yeah, thanks so much for watching this. As always, it's been my pleasure. I'll catch you guys next time.